The black and white photograph before us captures a haunting, yet deeply human moment. In medical history, it shows a nurse tending to children, their heads emerging from circular openings in a large metal chamber. Smiling faintly, the children appear calm, though their bodies are sealed inside a massive machine. This was not science fiction. It was reality in the 1950s, a generation of children confined to iron lungs, after being struck by the paralyzing grip of poliomyelitis, better known as polio. To modern eyes, the iron lung seems alien, like something from a dystopian novel. But for decades it represented hope, survival, and the only barrier between life and death for countless children. Long before the miracle of vaccines, these devices filled hospital wards across the United States and much of the world, keeping patients alive when the virus had stolen their ability to breathe. In the pre-vaccine era, a virus quietly stalked its victims, spreading through casual contact and leaving a trail of suffering in its wake. Known as poliomyelitis, this viral disease carried a heavy burden of fear. For most infected, it triggered mild flu-like symptoms or none at all. However, in a small percentage of cases, the virus waged a more sinister war, targeting the nervous system and paralyzing muscles permanently. Amongst the most vulnerable, children were particularly susceptible. As the 20th century progressed, parents began dreading the arrival of summer, a time when polio epidemics seemed to flourish. Public pools shut down, playgrounds emptied, and anxiety took root as the virus spread insidiously, often through contaminated food or water. A child could be playing merrily one moment and fighting for their life the next. Parents anxiously watched their children for signs of illness, for the telltale symptoms of fever. Sore throat, headache, and nausea could quickly escalate into something far worse. It was a terrifying race against time. If the virus attacked the diaphragm and chest muscles, leaving victims unable to breathe, death could arrive within hours unless medical intervention was swift and effective. This grim specter loomed over the United States and other parts of the world for decades, prompting desperate measures and innovative solutions. And that's where the iron lung comes into the picture. At its core, the iron lung was an engineering marvel of its time. Officially known as a negative pressure ventilator, it was essentially a large metal cylinder with portholes allowing medical attendants to access the patient. The child lay on a sliding bed that slid into the chamber, leaving only their head protruding from a sealed collar at one end. The magic, or rather the science behind this machine, was deceptively simple. By alternately lowering and raising the air pressure inside the chamber, the machine mechanically simulated the natural rhythm of breathing. When pressure dropped, the patient's chest expanded, drawing air into the lungs. When the pressure rose again, the lungs were forced to expel the air. It was mechanical breathing, without the patient needing to move a muscle. Inside the machine, life was both restricted and strangely sustained. Nurses and doctors tended to children by reaching through circular rubber-sealed windows, adjusting bedding, turning small bodies to prevent sores, or cleaning up when accidents occurred. Food had to be carefully fed to the patients, and if a child wanted to see the world beyond the ceiling, nurses would hold mirrors above their heads. Some hospitals even mounted mirrors at angles so children could watch movies projected on the wall. The goal was to make a life inside the machine feel less like a prison, even though in many ways it was. For the children confined to the iron lung, the experience was surreal. They could laugh, smile, and speak, but their bodies were trapped in immobile silence. Many grew up hearing the rhythmic whoosh and hiss of the machine that was both their captor and their savior. Some children spent only weeks or months in the lung, gradually regaining enough muscle function to breathe independently. Others remained for years. Tragically, a few would spend nearly their entire lives inside. During polio outbreaks, the sight of rows of iron lungs became common in hospitals. Entire wards would be filled with the machines, creating a steady chorus of pumps and motors. Nurses walked the aisles, checking gauges, adjusting seals, and comforting young patients whose only window to the outside world was through their heads, sticking out of steel coffins. And yet, despite the severity of their conditions, many children showed remarkable resilience. Stories abound of kids learning to read, joke, and even dictate letters to friends, all while encased in iron lungs. As we continue our journey back in time, we encounter an often overlooked aspect of the story. The human side of the iron lung. While the machine was a marvel of engineering, it was not the sole hero of this tale. The nurses and medical staff played an equally vital role, providing the human touch that kept hope alive. The image of the smiling nurse in the photograph is a reminder that iron lungs were not just machines, they were part of a deeply human effort to preserve life. Nurses became not only caretakers, but also companions. They brushed hair, fed meals, and provided the human touch that machines could not. Hospital staff developed incredible resourcefulness. They learned to entertain children with songs and stories, to hold mirrors so they could see birthday cakes, and to decorate rooms with posters so that sterile wards felt less oppressive. In many cases, the bonds between nurses and patients were as strong as family. Life in an iron lung demanded unwavering attention and care. Regular adjustments were necessary to ensure the machine accurately mimicked natural breathing patterns. Nurses monitored dials, valves, and pressure gauges, making constant fine-tuning to match the patient's needs. This was not merely a technical task, but an active attentiveness that balanced precision with empathy. The children trapped in these metallic cocoons yearned for connection and normalcy. Nurses understood this and went beyond their duties to provide comfort and familiarity. Reading aloud, singing songs, and even sharing jokes became part of the daily routine. These moments offered a brief escape from the confines of the iron lung and reminded the children that the world outside cared about them. But the question remains, how long did this last? How long did this ordeal last for the children trapped inside the iron lungs? For some, the stay was relatively short, lasting a few weeks or months. As they slowly regained their ability to breathe on their own, they would emerge from their metallic prisons lighter and weaker, but full of gratitude for the nurses who had been their lifeline. For others, the iron lung became a home for years. Some patients remained confined for several years before they could breathe independently. It was a long and arduous process of physical therapy and rehabilitation. But many of these children emerged from their ordeal with a newfound appreciation for life. Then there were the rare cases, the children who spent nearly their entire lives within the steel walls. These were the exceptions, the ones who faced a future where the iron lung was their only reality. It was a grim prospect, but even in these cases, the nurses provided unwavering care and companionship. They made sure that these children were not forgotten and that their lives, though different, were still filled with love and attention. The story of the iron lung is one of resilience, hope, and the unbreakable bond between patients and caregivers. Today, the iron lung stands as a relic of a bygone era, a symbol of a time when medical science was hard-pressed to find answers to the polio epidemic. Its disappearance from hospitals and wards is a testament to the triumph of scientific research and public health initiatives. In the early 1950s, thousands of children in the United States alone relied on iron lungs, filling hospital beds and dominating the thoughts of anxious parents and communities. But salvation was not far off. In 1955, the introduction of the polio vaccine by Jonas Salk marked a turning point in this decades-long battle. This vaccine, along with the later oral polio vaccine by Albert Sabin, proved to be highly effective in preventing the disease. Within a few years, mass immunization campaigns were underway, offering parents a shield to protect their children from the crippling effects of polio. The impact was immediate and profound. Cases plummeted dramatically. By the late 20th century, polio was nearly eradicated in most parts of the world. The once familiar sight of children in iron lungs became a thing of the past. The survivors of the machine emerged from their metallic prisons forever changed. They carried with them the physical and emotional scars of their ordeal. Yet many of them went on to lead full and meaningful lives, their spirits unbroken by the challenges they had faced. One such survivor was Paul Alexander, a Texan who spent over 70 years in an iron lung after contracting polio at the age of 6. He defied the odds, earning a law degree and practicing as an attorney. His story is a testament to the indomitable human spirit. The legacy of the iron lung is a reminder of the power of medical innovation and public health measures. It serves as a warning of the threat posed by infectious diseases and the importance of vigilance. Moreover, it stands as a tribute to the courage, compassion, and ingenuity of the medical professionals who cared for the victims of polio. As we reflect on this bygone era, let us remember the children trapped in steel cocoons, their laughter echoing through the halls of medical history. Let their story inspire us to cherish the gift of health, to value the tireless efforts of our healthcare workers, and to remain steadfast in our pursuit of scientific progress.